Welcome to 23 Degrees Sideways. We're going to talk a little bit about AC power on a small boat that doesn't have it built in and plumbed in. Now, a lot of larger boats will have an AC system that's already built into the backbone of the boat, and they'll have a whole bunch of circuit breakers and a little panel and a little meter, and it'll have reverse polarity alarms and possibly even a meter that shows how many volts you're actually getting, how good your shore power really is, how many amps you're drawing, all that stuff. And you don't usually have that on a smaller boat to the same degree, if at all. For example, we're on a 27-foot Catalina, and we don't have any of that. We have no power, no shore power or AC backbone in the boat at all. Okay? We have access to shore power when we're at a marina, and we have a way to deal with that. I'll talk about that here in a moment. Have a person who I think is a subscriber, but was asking on Reddit about how to get the power to work when you're at a dock, when you're on a small boat that doesn't have AC built in. In this case, it's Pearson 26, which is a fantastic small boat. I would absolutely adore living and cruising on one of these if it wasn't for, I think, the rudder design, in just for me. The rudder design doesn't seem to interface well with outboards for me. It doesn't seem like it allows for a long enough shaft for actually ICW cruising in occasionally weather where you just have to motor because the winds don't agree with you. 4-foot draft, 26-foot boat, 26 feet and 3 inches, something like that. Absolutely fantastic boat. The headroom's a little bit light, 5'8", and I'm a little bit taller than that. My wife would be fine with it, but it's pretty decent little boat. It's got a dinette, it's got a V-berth. It's probably 20% less volume than the Catalina that we're on has, but it's a decent design. A lot of that volume space is in the that you're technically losing is going to be in the quarter berth area and the outboard well. I'm looking at a computer, so excuse me for not looking at you. But the boat isn't the important part here. That's not actually what we're worried about talking about. We're going to talk about the electrical and heat. So this person, if it's the right person, is in an area where that just got hit by the snowstorm. Just bam, hammered, right? And heat is an issue. And the actual question is how to get out all of the electrical service from a marina dock, which is 30 amp, 120 volt service, onto the boat. Like how to be able to access that on the boat when you don't have that backbone. And it's totally fine, totally easy, no real difficulty to that. I'm going to talk a little bit about the reason why, which is to run 2 electrical heaters. I disagree with the idea of running 2 electrical heaters. I disagree on a safety standpoint, power standpoint, need standpoint. Now, I have a gas outboard because we don't have an internal engine, and designed that way, just like this Pearson. Our boat was designed with an outboard well, and I don't carry diesel for that or any other reason, really. It's kind of nice for starting fires, though. We have a tiny bit of lamp oil that we carry for the Weems and Plath oil lamp, which will actually heat things up just a little bit. I kind of would like to have another one of those oil lamps that's designed to have the little coffee warmer stovetop on top. It won't actually cook anything, but it's good for warming something up if you need to. We have a portable stove, so that uses its own butane fuel, because that's what we have right now. We have a propane grill, and that's the main cooking appliance, and that uses propane bottles, because I haven't decided I wanted to plumb in a tank yet. It does actually cost a little less, and it lasts forever. Like a 20-pound cylinder is going to last you forever with a little magma grill. So those are our fuels: gasoline, some cans of butane, some cans of propane, and we carry a gallon of the kerosene around, or not kerosene, lamp oil, a clarified kerosene, whatever. They call it paraffin, but it's not paraffin. So now we carry diesel. Why mess with an extra fuel type for something that you're only going to use for a couple months out of the year, and you may, on a good year, only use 12 times. Well, first of all, you're not going to just use it 12 times. Once you set it up in the weather, you're going to use it more often than that. It's a great way to take the chill off. It's a great way to dehumidify the boat and everything, because we're talking about a forced air diesel heater. Now, those used to cost $2,000, $3,000. They were Webasto's or whatever, some thing made in Europe, and they were under patent and everything. And now the patent's expired, and China's producing them for $150, $110, $200, depends on which one you get. We bought a lunchbox style, and the lunchbox style or toolbox style literally is a little toolbox with a handle and everything. You just carry it around. The exhaust isn't that hot. There's no real big issues. We put it in the cockpit, just set it in the cockpit, run the 3-inch hose, vent hose, through a deck plate, and that's just it's a hole you drill in the boat. Basically, it's a 6-inch hole. You put a fitting in it, and it's got a screw-on lid that's waterproof. You unscrew that lid, you have a hole in your cockpit, like in the bulkhead back here. We've got 2 of them, 2 6-inch ones, and they're there. They have screens. You can fit screens in them. They're really great for air flow in the summer, especially in the evenings when you've got everything else closed up. And they work just fine for this heater. You can also use them as pass-throughs. It depends on what you're doing with the boat. If it's not bug season and you want to pass through, it's a little pass-through. You could put some cords or cables or something if you want to charge your laptop in the cockpit or something. There are lots of things you can do with it. So we run this little toolbox heater. We go through, if we're using it a lot, we go through a couple of gallons of diesel a week. These things work really well on a small boat. You never have to turn it up very high. The fuel usage is minimal. They're safe. They're far safer than electrical heaters. They use a little bit of power, 12 volt or 120. You can pick whichever way you do it. Run it off of your battery. Ours runs off of a battery. Or you can run it off of mains power. You're at the dock. You've got your 120 volt, which we're going to talk about here in just a moment. It's $160, and it just works. And it's all in a box, and there's no installation. You put it on the cockpit. You make sure it's not going to slide anywhere. I put some non-skid down and then a couple of wood blocks just to put it where I wanted it. And I rigged the exhaust out of the boat and up a little bit so it wouldn't go into the cabin. No big deal. Total, I think I have $180 into it because I bought an extra piece of exhaust pipe and a little piece of 3-inch vent hose, foil-lined vent hose. So it just comes right into the boat right there and just puts air in. Way better than electric heater. Way better than trying to run 2 electric heaters. Now, running an electric heater is still fine, but running large wattage electric heaters for long periods of time, especially leaving them on when you leave the boat, is your biggest fire risk in the winter. Anywhere, anything in the US is going to be the electric heater, the little forced air electric heater. So you don't need to do that. But for power, you still need power. You're probably going to run that electric heater sometimes, even though it doesn't clean out the wet air the way the forced air diesel does. You're going to do refrigeration, maybe a little electric cooler. There's all sorts of little things. Tool batteries for your tools, or power tools themselves plug into this. So the easiest way to do this, the best way to do this, if you're not going to put a system in your boat, now this is the thing, if you're not actually mounting a permanent shore power thing to your boat, the way to do this is to get a 30 amp extension cord that has 110 volt regular 15 and 20 amp outlets on the other end. So it plugs into your pedestal in the marina, and then the other end, 25 feet later, 10 gauge wire, get the heavy duty one. These are on Amazon for $50. You have a couple of outlets. Like usually you'll see one with 3 outlets or 2 outlets. Sometimes you'll see one. This costs a little bit more. This is the $70 version. It'll have 2 outlets on one side, 2 outlets on the other side, and each of those outlet sets has a separate 15 amp breaker. fantastic, perfect. That breaker is a safety feature. It's great for you. We don't use it because we plug in to electric once in a while, and it's for purposes of charging, running a battery charger if the solar's crappy, or running a tool battery charger like for a Milwaukee drill or something. Sometimes outside of the boat, we'll use it as an extension cord for a power tool if we need to grind or buff something. That's all it is. Easy answer. You can get them with distribution boxes. You can buy distribution boxes and then buy your cord, chop it up, and wire into a distribution box. And then you'll have a couple of outlets with meters and different breaker panels and stuff. You can do that, and that's totally fine. And I might do that at some point just because I'm kind of weird that way. It sounds kind of cool, but it's not really necessary. So for a small boat, I'm very loath to try to put in hot 120 volt AC wiring into a boat if it's not already there, and if it is already there, you're going to have to replace it anyway. It's not something that I really care to get involved with. Just we're past that era in technology where you just have to do it that way. You really don't. Now, summertime, more important than wintertime, summertime in most of the East Coast, you're going to want an air conditioner. And we're talking about small, cheap boats. We're talking about $3,000, $4,000 boats, $1,200 boats, cheap, small boats. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want a rigged hatch system. So you're going to want to rig a hatch cover system with the smallest, cheapest, most ridiculous window air conditioner you can get, because the space that you're doing is very small. Make sure you have a place for the water to drain, because you're dealing with a lot of humidity. There's going to be a lot of water drainage, and it's going to be a 3,000 BTU or whatever. It's going to be a 10, 15 amp air conditioner. You just plug it into that cord and you just run it. You're not running anything else. You might be running a fridge or a tool charger or something, but you're not pulling a household worth of power out of it. So just don't worry about it. Just run that. Now, have your extra breaker. Make sure your polarity is right. You don't want to trust the breaker on the pedestal. All of that is very normal, very safe. Do it that way. But don't worry about the rest. Like, don't overthink it. Don't overbuild it. The air conditioner thing, you could go for a 12 volt air conditioner. You could go for a water pump based heat exchanger. You can do all sorts of stuff, marine air conditioners. But these air conditioning requires a lot of work and a lot of maintenance, no matter which way you do it. And so I would just get the electrical cord. They're called generator cords, because I guess most people with generators have that 30 amp plug. You want that 30 amp plug, and you want some outlets on the other end. Breakers or no breakers, up to you. Breakers is safer. No breakers is not safer. And just limit what you run off of it. You're not going to run a whole lot. So that's the easy answer. It's the $50, $70 answer. Go ahead and get the breakers, the breaker model, because that's $70 answer. It's only $20 more, and it is safer. For the air conditioner, just get the cheapest air conditioner you can get and make it so you've got a bug-proof mounting and everything. You know where the water's going to drain. It's going to drain off the boat, or maybe you have a drain tube and you can run the tube over the side. Whatever it is, that's the way to do that. For heating, though, electric heating is a nightmare. And I really strongly suggest, at this point, as easy and as many advances as we've gotten in quality and everything, a toolbox heater that you just run in the cockpit and push the air in through the cabin. That's probably the way to go. Of course, even that requires electricity. So if you're sitting at the dock, you use your electricity. I would not try to run dual heaters very often. It's just every fire I know of in winter is a heater fire, and it's just not great. So electric heater fire. So anyway, that's all I got. The cords are easy. Everything's simple. I think the small boat, several people responded to the Reddit post with the boats that they're living on, 23 footers, 26 footers, 30 footers. I think it's great to see more people actually living on the smaller boats and coming up with hacks and living systems. One of the things about technology right now is that we've come to a place where you can do a lot with portable stuff, like portable power units, Jackery battery packs, and portable stoves and portable refrigeration. Our refrigerator is not a built-in; it's a portable C-cup, low-power compressor. Looks like a cooler with a little fan spot on the bottom, and all this stuff is great because you don't have to spend 20-30 hours and $500 of fiberglass materials to do this. So keep your electrical similarly simple, but be safe. All right, that's it. Stay sideways.